Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, March the 5th. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We are looking at the weekly formations because just as I suspected yesterday, we bounced off this area of balance into the lows of the day. We didn't quite get down there to that 57.30, but the bounce action really became very reflexive as soon as that happened. Let's go to the daily. You can see the wick that was created right when it broke past the 200 simple moving average on the daily. It broke it by about 20 points and then began a very nice move to the downside. This is one of the reasons I said, hey, listen, don't short these lows. Don't short the lows. There's too much prior activity that gave that a bounce zone. The 200 simple moving average is still trending upward. This is the first type of reflexive bounce we see when a moving average is upward like that. Hello, what did you just do with that Fibonacci? And so today, we see how much gas the traders have in the tank for upward motion. I have to say, it doesn't look great. And so I would still suggest that bounces are sell zones, but this new area right here in the E-mini S&Ps between 57.90 and 58.46, that's important. My suspicion is we either consolidate and take a breath, we hold 57.90, or we bottom out again. And here's the big picture of why I think downward flows are going to continue. It is because we are under a 50, and we've come into an area that spent several days consolidating. The very last time it was here, it spent 4 days in this range. The time before that, which occurred in September of 2024, it took 2.5 weeks in this region. So I don't expect an immediate reflexive bounce higher. I don't expect a break lower, but because the formation is very different, a la this 50 simple moving average, to me, this is a sell the bounce event, right? Now, could it come down here and you get aggressive and buy the dip again? Yeah, I like that, actually. So the line in the sand that buyers are going to try and keep themselves above is at 57.30. Looks like 57.50 might be where the traders are going to try and hold that. And if it holds above that, 57.90 and then 58.63, that's where the 50 is on the hourly. That's where we've got very heavy congestion zones. You know, could you call this a super ugly head and shoulders pattern and measure it? You could. I don't like doing that. But if you did that, you'd get 25 points, and then 25 points from here would be what, 37 or something like that? And look at where we stopped, 40. So that formation is likely done in the near term. So that's what we're staring down. I still believe bounces are going to sell in general. I want us to look very tactically at the market. Don't think longer term. Think, hey, how am I going to look at this for the next 2 weeks? Because this is a very important OPEX coming. Take a look at this. Yesterday, I said, listen, this area is where the Qs and the NQ are likely to come in and begin a bounce, right? Weekly NASDAQ chart we're looking at here. It came within 20 points of the low. What is that low we have here? 75. Okay, so it came within 50 points of this area and immediately began to bounce. This was the bounce zone. Absolutely beautiful stuff. I mean, just absolutely fantastic. Just right into the balance area. Big reflexive action. Look at where we're fighting. We are trying to get up over the low of yesterday. And what we did last night was bounce, gap open, and then give it all back. That is weakness. This spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks floating around this area. I don't really think that's going to be the case this time, but we could spend several days floating around this zone with buyers continually coming in on these lower levels and trying to build a reflexive motion to the upside. The longer term traders definitely would love to end the week over 20,620. I think that's where they're going to want to go. Notice also how fantastic this move up. Let's go to the daily. And oh my word, I got to lock these or I'm just moving them out. We talked about the 20,720 area. I removed it because I was changing some things. But if you go to yesterday's chart, you'll see yesterday's video. You'll see I talked about that line in the sand. Literally, we came right into the zone and collapsed. Look at the doji sitting here on the daily chart. Buyers really want to defend this upward 200. They really, really do. Whether they're going to get to remains to be seen. And right now, bounces clearly sell zones in the chart right now. We are at the 50 simple moving average on the hourly here, and you can see a topping and a topping, and the traders just not being able to hang on. Now, if we hold 450, well, maybe 400, 395, we could have ourselves a little bit of sideways pressure, right? That may or may not break. My thought is reflexive bounces could go all the way back up to that 720 zone. I'll put this right there at 734, 20,734. At this juncture, I would say don't diddle in the middle. Wait for the dips. Consider the buys there. Very tight stop. Or wait for the spikes. Have it leave the area and then short it. Okay? We could set up for a digestion day because the movement has been very, very dramatic. And as we traders, we get a little seasick when market action starts doing this sort of thing for us. So that's a look at the NQ. You can see levels above. I don't know that those levels are things we need to think about now, because what we really are trying to do is stay within this reflexive patch that is literally about 700 points wide, right? And so that's going to be key. Here's the YM. Please remember we have no midday Moneyball report today because I will be in the surgical waiting room for my husband to be done with this last series. Okay, so what are we looking at for the YM? Double topping formation still in progress. Still making lower lows and lower highs on the weekly. 50 simple moving average way down here. Where's the balance zone for the YM? Well, I think it starts here at about 41,800. We might circumvent it and get to 42,000, but I think we've got bounces or sells until we get into this zone, right? Could we have a balance area of support that's around this 42,600? Yes, but it's much more likely that we have downward pressure rather than upward pressure. And we've had a couple of days that really look pretty tragic, right? Here is the 200 down at 42,000. This is the volume point of control at 42,400. And here is the VWAP at 42,690 here in the YM. And so, there are some great arguments for this being a good bounce zone. I think it's a good bounce zone into resistance. So I'm looking for the bounces to short deep dips that leave a wick down into 41,700, 41,900. That's where I'll consider a buy, but not before then. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Apparently there was some sort of reserve commentary last night, and so this is off to the races, but guess what? It's only off to the races into resistance. All right, this is a proxy for the NQ. It is not going to run off the rails. I'm still looking for a reflexive sell in MBT around 99 to 97. This is a very clean balance zone. 2 days ago, completely rejected it. Actually, 3 days ago, completely rejected it. Came to the floor, starting to make some higher lows, right? Make some higher lows. So where should the traders go if it's all clear on the Western Front? They're going to go up here to 95. Listen, if they can't get through 95 with all the good news swirling around, look out below. If 92,600, if they can't breach that, look out below. Now, we are seeing pressure up. This is a buy the dip formation in the morning. Flat 50, but up, coming into resistance, could have a clear breakaway. Momentum is up, trend is up, Keltner band is up. Not a place you want to short right here. Let it break through into the liquidity lines well up above before you consider any kind of shorting. This is some excited buying, and I want to get it back up into this zone above here at 95. Okay, no shorting before that in my mind. There's no shorting before that. If we get to 92,600 and we start chopping around, testing edges higher with a price probe and then nothing happening, down she goes. All right? So I'm in a wait state right now before my next entry into micro Bitcoin. Let's go to oil. Take a look, folks. Here we are. Moment of truth. This was very, very interesting yesterday, right? As you recall, we talked about this and I said, hey, we can get down into the value area low. Buyers are going to try and come in. That's the weekly formation. We're still here. Look at how many weeks we sat here. If we collapse through this zone without a fight, it's going to be very ugly. It is going to be absolutely hideous, right? We're going to have a measured move that should bring us to 57. Peter Brandt said months ago, hey, if we don't hold this level, we could get to 43. And, he's not wrong from a measured move perspective. But this is an entire balance area that lasted a very long time, right? An entire year. And now here we are again. Hold the balance. We expect it to bounce. Buyers are going to come in and try and defend that. If they don't get it, it's going to be rough. Okay? So what are they going to do? They're going to try and get it. Yesterday, look what they did. I mean, textbook coming into the zone, immediately bouncing. What's the sad part of the story? They can't hold it, right? They cannot hold it. And so this region right here is the do or die. Now they're trying to come in, but momentum is very steep. Trend is fairly steep. Under the 50. Keltner bands in the same direction. Bounces, going to be sell zones. Where's the ideal bounce? Well, let's say we're ranging, right? Let's say we're ranging and we come down into this area. We lose 66.60, but then we recapture it. That's going to be the buy zone because it puts us inside of the balance area again. Now we have to step through that balance area, and then we take it one step at a time into the resistance, right? That's simply what's going to happen with the traders. If, per happenstance, we lose this 66.70 and below, and then we bounce, but we cannot get up over 67, this chart is headed for 65. All right, let's take a look at gold. Take a look at the weekly. Dollar absolutely falling off a cliff. I mean, holy smokes. Somebody's making a ton of money in Forex over the last couple of days. Here we are, weekly formation, beginning the week, solid bounce. I have to say, also not something that I expected. I'm just saying. I did not expect the bounce to be all the way up here. However, as the dollar continues to fade, gold is going to be that reflexive event. So let's go to the daily and see what we've got going on. We're still in the halfway area. This is the entire balance zone. We went to the top, came back to the bottom. Solid bounce area. Where are we likely to go? 2960. Here's the problem. Still negative divergence. So whatever happens up here, it's going to have a reflexive move down. Does that make me want to buy the highs here? No, it doesn't. I would rather wait for the dip. And so on a smaller time frame, we have all these traders sitting here. They're buying here and they want to sell here and above. Or they're selling here and they want to buy here at 29.13 or below. Is it me or does this chart look super messy? It do. It really looks messy. Anyways, so here we are. What do we want to do? Don't diddle in the middle. That's for sure. Wait for the dip. See if you can get that 29.20 to 29.13. Take a look at this. 50 upward, 200 downward on the hourly. If we have the cross here, it's got bullish action. I would love to see an intraday buy point at around 29.13. That would be absolutely fantastic. But this is the region that we are sitting in here. They're defending this edge. We had a price probe here, didn't hold, and now, all the little tiny price probes up here failing, but price probes to the south also failing. So we should be moving up here. I would just like to have a dip, maybe 29.13, so that we can trade into 29.35. Let's take a look at SPY. All right, weekly. Here it is. 580, it lost the level. That's the heavy congestion zone. So we have to go below. And really, we have two areas of overlapping balance, right? We have this area way up here at 584. That's going to be the number that we stare down, right? If we can get up and over that zone, we'll get into the top of the range near 596, right? I do expect some kind of reflexive bounce. I don't know what it's going to look like exactly, but it is something that I suspect is going to be in the cards, particularly if we don't bounce really hard, but we end up consolidating. All right, so we have the base there, and then the top here. And so we're about halfway through this balance zone here, and then a much wider zone here between 570 and 590. Okay, 20 points wide. Traders are going to try and lift this bounce, but not really sure how well it's going to go. So let's take a look at the daily. What do we see? Right? Big wicks. Those big wicks on the bottom get bought. This is why I say, please do not short the lows. Not a good thing to do in this kind of market. It's very reflexive. And it's very reflexive based on where these balance zones end up sitting. And so that's what we need to pay attention to. So here we are bouncing. We tried to go higher. Couldn't do it. We are below the close of the prior day. Not so hot, right? Now we have to see, can we recover that area? Where's the go, no go? 576? We have more downside, right? But again, 576 to 575, they found a lot of buyers. So it's not a place to short, right? Sure, we have trend, but notice how these candlesticks have been retracing each other. Pay attention to that and don't have the itchy trigger finger. Do we have bearish action? Yes. Is it likely to continue? Yes, but not without some really hefty bounces that are going to smash your face. So you want to be super careful. All right, bounces are sell zones. I like that. Could it be a nice dip if we recapture? If we recapture the close of the prior day, 580, we could bounce into the top here at 584. That's what the traders are going to try and do, recover one candlestick at a time in this kind of formation. All right. The Qs. Another doji, right? Saw doji yesterday. Very interesting. It's the only doji that appeared in the chart. And so, look, same, right? Heavy congestion, 485 floor, trying to bounce through the area, two balance regions, this tight one that breaks out, and then this much bigger one here that we are sitting at the base of. So dips, probably going to be buy zones. Spikes, probably going to be sell zones. We had a doji yesterday that was an indecision candlestick formation. And where is our indecision sitting? Right in the middle of all of this noise. Very, very noisy patch. Bounces are still sell zones. Okay, bounces are sell zones. Deep dips continue to be buy zones. So what are you looking for, deep dip? Hey, if it comes into 485, they're going to try and defend it again. If it breaks above 500, sellers are going to get caught flat-footed one more time and probably going to run into 504, maybe even into 508. Okay, so that's it for me, folks. I will see you all on the streams tomorrow. Take care and trade small.